following my work with Nuno Oliveira, something very unusual happened. My parents, who loved to go on cruises, that was their recreation from their flower shop and their horse business, they were on a cruise in the Mediterranean that was filled almost only with Germans. And there were almost no Americans there, and they're having dinner at a table with all Germans. And my parents are so polite, and they're trying desperately to speak German and communicate with these people. And my mother's sitting next to this lovely white-haired German lady, bright blue eyes. There's just the most charming lady, and her boyfriend, and maybe in her 70s, this beautiful lady. And my mother holds up a package of sugar, and she says in her broken German, sugar for my horse. And she's saying to the lady, I would give this sugar to my horse if I was at home. And the lady's like, horse. And immediately comes alive and starts conversing with my parents. And my parents whip out their Appaloosa pictures, because they have now become Appaloosa breeders, and they own a stallion and mares, and we're breeding Appaloosas, and we're showing Appaloosas. And my father rides Western, and my mother and I do dressage with Michael Poulin. And so in Pony Club, and they love to trail ride in the mountains of Maine, and they've done hours and hours of it. And they whip out these photographs of these Appaloosas in the mountains. And the lady's like, Indian ponies, Aboriginal American ponies. Oh yes, they think that these are American ponies. And my mother's like, the lady's telling her that she's a dressage judge, and my mother's freaking out. Like, oh my gosh, our daughter does dressage, and this is a dressage judge. And this turned out to be Maria Zimmer, who is a very, very well-known dressage judge through FEI in Germany. Very, very respected. In those days, she was a biologist, and so she was, you were either a trainer or you were a judge, because you couldn't be both in those days. She was a professional judge, and she had a day job. Very, very, very well respected. But she owned 3 horses herself, and they were at Grand Prix level. So, would you like to come to Maine and visit us? Would you like to come and ride the American ponies in the woods? And immediately, in 6 months, that lady comes to America, and she's in my parents' house. And my mom was on the ball. Americans compared to Germans, there's no way. Anything that we would be doing wouldn't be dressage, in their opinion. So she didn't tell this woman that my daughter does dressage. And the first morning, they go out for a trail ride, 2 or 3 hours, down the mountains and down the roads of Maine, which was very, very rural, beautiful, beautiful country. And they give that lady, Maria Zimmer, my best horse, my 4th level horse, with my Stubborn dressage saddle, with my double bridle. And this lady goes down by the rivers and into the fields, and now there's a field that was 2 miles long, no woodchuck holes. And my parents and I rode in that field daily. And they said, hey, there's no holes here, make yourself at home, canter around, go down by the river, this horse will go in the river. And she starts cantering my horse around and trotting it around, and she realizes, whoa, this thing half passes. Oh my goodness, it does flying changes. Oh, it does some sequential changes. And she pulls up next to my mother, who's also doing some flying changes and half passes, going, oh, this horse does some dressage. And my mother said, well, my daughter does a little dressage, but we don't do dressage, we understand that we're beginners. And the lady was enchanted with the horses, enchanted with my parents. She loved Maine. And so I come to tea after she's come back from riding my horse, and the lady's like, we have to go outside tomorrow. I didn't even have an outside dressage ring. I just had a little covered arena, and she's like, we have to go out and practice your test. And thus began my relationship for 5 years with Maria Zimmer. She never took a cent from me, and coached me in Germany and in America for 5 years. It was amazing.